What is up, everybody? Welcome to Headhunters Live number 65. And this is me, David Stephen Patterson. You may know me as DSP. And today we have an amazing show for you with Brianna Rooney. We're going to bring her on in just a minute. But before I do so, I want to introduce my my co-hosts. Now we have over here
Coasts. That was good. You blended it all together. Coasts. Co-hosts.
our co-host.
Coasts.
Anyway, our resident pretty boy, Chris Wessel, best looking man in the. Oh, sorry, Neil.
Every week, brother.
It goes back and forth every week.
Every week.
And our second prettiest co-host, which me, but the third prettiest, Neil Lovitz, the big sticky cheese. What's up, Neil?
We're number one in each of our categories, though. I think we all play to different demographics. So for our respective, lanes.
Don't be humble, you good-looking son of a bitch. Just do it. Accept it.
Okay.
Quit trying to be nice.
How do I compete? Nice. I don't have the hair. I don't have the skin. I don't have the dimples. I don't have the cleft chin. I don't have the friggin' pea little size hair. I don't have the perfect ears. You're crazy. You good-looking son of a bitch.
You have style. You have style, and you can talk.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean? I'll take that.
You're refined. You're mature.
Yeah.
You look mature.
Yeah.
How's that?
So Chris never had to develop. Chris never had to develop his social skills and his charm. You know, he just realized it looks at the end of the day. Like, I get it. You know, use what God gave you, and then you know you've had to work harder. And look, now there you are. All right, so guys,
crickets.
This is going off the rails really quickly. We have a great show for you. Brianna Rooney, also known as the Millionaire Recruiter. We're going to bring her on in just a few minutes. But if you're watching this live, please comment live right down there. You know why? It'll help the algorithm. And we want to algorithmically get as far as we can. So like it, love it, comment live. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. All right. And before we bring on Brianna, I do want to mention a couple of our beautiful sponsors. And let's start off with Back Office Staffing Solutions. Now, this is Neil's company, and full disclosure, he started this. And in essence, if you are looking to get into temporary staffing, contract staffing, fractional staffing, whatever you want to call it, but if you want to get into that to help smooth out your revenue and not have the big ups and downs of direct hire placement, but you don't know where to get started, or you don't want to handle the workers' comp and the insurance and funding the payroll and all that kind of jazz, because it has teeth. It definitely, that stuff has big teeth. Neil will handle the whole thing for you. So go to backofficenow.com. And if you're with another a back office provider, give these guys a shot. Guarantee you they'll match and or beat the rates, and you'll get a better quality service and a branded app as well. So backofficenow.com. Also, Neil has an AI guide you can download. I really gotta put the title on this thing, but you can download it you can buy it on Amazon. Or you can go to backofficenow.com/AI and get it for free. Right. So go there. And also for me, I own a company called the Digital Headhunter, and I'll keep this brief. If you're looking for a done for you system where we go in and we set up your complete sales and marketing system in about 30 to 45 days with an ROI guarantee, completely done for you, go to realdsp.com/build. There's a 12-minute video explaining what we do, how we build it, etc. And I also have an AI guide called the AI Proof Recruiter. Go to the digitalheadhunter.com/AI-proof.
I like the way the name of your book specifically on it. For me, it just says AI book. Yep.
What's the name of your book, Neil?
The Smart Recruiter's AI Handbook.
I will put that on there. Remind me. I'll definitely put that on there. Now I just keep forgetting.
You both have AI agents out there too. They're like the AI Neil and the AI DSP. Like, imagine, could all of you watching this imagine having either of these two at your disposal, making them do whatever you want them to, like that would sell.
I have to say, if you haven't played with 11 Labs and you do their 30-minute script, I mean, it's a while. You get a good mic and you do their script. Their friggin' AI cloning is insane. How good it is.
Yeah. The AI apocalypse is not going to be Skynet. It's not going to be Terminator, everybody. It's going to be this 11 Labs, ChatGPT. So all I'm saying is hedge your bets, say thank you to your ChatGPT bot every single time. All right. When the AI overlords take over the
I,
world.
for one, welcome our AI overlords, right? Like,
yes, thank you. Me too.
Which, as an aside, but not to digress too much from our lovely call, but all over the press is all these people that are in deep relationships with their AI chatbot.
That's what I'm saying. You too could be in a relationship with AI Neo. And again,
God.
you could
AI
train him to do
I'm
whatever you like.
With my AI self. It's like masturbating, but virtually, right? I mean, without sexually. Anyway.
This is going off the rails quick. Let's bring on Brianna to save the show. All right, Brianna, welcome.
I'm dying over here. You use the word masturbating. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this.
We're allowed to. It's a podcast.
I love it.
And like at the end of the day, like here's one thing I love about recruiters. Recruiters are some of the saltiest, most fun people you'll ever
Wildly
meet.
Inappropriate.
Wildly
Inappropriate. We're not corporate. I mean, look, Brianna, would you survive in a corporate environment? I mean, really?
Oh my God. I just got like all the gross chills. So when I had a team of about 20, we always said that we were going to do a reality show, but we had to hit it real hard for a year because we'd all be out of work. Like it would be over.
Yep.
That's so true. And well, I will say this too about recruiters. You know, it's kind of like I don't know. It's well, not about recruiters, but about working in corporate America. Sorry, but working in like a corporate environment. I always imagine if I worked in corporate, like I'd always be called into HR because they really want to hear the punchline to that joke I told in the lunchroom. You know what I mean? Like HR manager, like, oh, but tell me that joke. I want to hear it. And so, yeah, I would not last either.
But if you're not a recruiter and you're watching this, we love jobs. Jobs are great. They're great for just not us.
Yeah, I've always been told I'm an HR nightmare. So when I got HR, like I had like two people to choose from, and one was like all buttoned up, and then this other one came in and like tats and talked about how she drank, and I was like, I want to go with the tats and drinking, but I think I need to go with the button up because that would be the complete opposite. And it was the best decision.
Well, Brianna, let's do a quick intro. So for those folks who don't know who you are, if you can tell us real quick, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Brianna Rooney, and I've been in tech recruiting for the last 18 years. Started my own business when I was 24, so that was super fun. Sold it 12 years later to a firm via an acquisition. The whole team went. I stayed, built an RPO company called Talent Perch. That didn't last long. It was a complete disaster. And then I started coaching. I mean, I've been coaching for a while, had the Millionaire Recruiter channel for like since 2018. So that's been really fun. I believe in learning development because as we all know, recruiters aren't trained. We're just thrown to the wolves and we'll figure it out, which is good and bad, right? But I love learning development. I love doing like role plays of it and all that stuff. So then I built Thriversity, which has all like the e-courses and stuff. Long story short, I like was losing my mind with all of like the different brands and stuff. And so pretty much I just have the Millionaire Recruiter right now. And then I randomly got into recruiting for accountants, for CPAs, public accounting and stuff, which I was super bored. So I needed a challenge, and that's exactly what it is.
Bored, so you went into the exciting, crazy world of accounting. You wild thing.
I know, losing it.
It's what I saw you pop up a ton of the Millionaire Recruiter videos, especially like around COVID or just right. Like, but that was like there was a lot of people putting out content. Like Ben Nader was doing his thing, and like Russell was putting his videos out. Your stuff was popping up like a ton because I feel like there's a few other names I could think of, but yours was in there a lot because I feel like there was a lot of people trying to get into the business, and like I feel like those videos were kind of geared towards like those people and giving them some kind of a, like you said, recruiters have no training, right? We just kind of get thrown in, and it seemed like it was kind of like almost like instructional videos.
Yeah, I was just like having fun with it. Actually, it was one of my employees who was like, you have to start putting out content. There's all these like basically idiots out there putting out content. Yeah. You got to put it up. And so he's the one who started filming it all because we have big training packets and stuff like that. So I was kind of just having fun. And then we kept getting asked, can you teach me how to open up my own startup? Can you teach me how to be an entrepreneur? Can you teach, like all this shit? And we're like, okay. So then the three of us made a course. And so we just kind of rocked that out, and it sold really well without any marketing. So that's how it was kind of like, oh, wow, there actually is like a need for this. So it's been a fun journey.
Did you embrace the whole YouTube thing? Do you have a lot of followers and subscribers, or is it more, the leads as they come in and then just directs to your website?
Yeah, so I think I have 35,000 or so followers. But what was crazy is I actually hired a few of my followers. So like right when COVID hit, I started having people like, hit me up a little bit more. So we ended up flying down someone from San Francisco. And that was the moment where I was like, am I like a celebrity or something? Because she literally freaked out in my office. She was in my chair because I was training her, right? She's in my chair and she's like, wait a minute, I'm in the Millionaire Recruiter's chair right now. And it was like such a turn off for me where I was like,
turn off or turn on? A turn
no,
off?
No, it was a turn off because I just
Really?
didn't. Yeah, I just didn't like want that, where I was like, no, we're here to just rock it. Like, I want to make you money. You're going to make me money. Like, this isn't about that. This isn't, so I just wasn't ready for that.
You're so not a guy. Guys love that shit.
No, I wasn't ready for it.
It is a weird feeling because I've had that before. Like, I would say, like, I'm very famous in an extremely niche market. And that's right. But it is interesting when you get on like a sales call or you talk to somebody and they repeat one of your catchwonders.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've had that. Like, my peace out Cub Scout. Like, I get that all the time. So now I get that. I wonder though. I'm gonna go back to It's funny when you said you went from like tech to accounting. It almost seems like a reverse midlife crisis, doesn't it?
100%.
Like a reverse one.
A reverse? Oh, I definitely feel
because usually like you go for the crazier stuff when you're in a midlife crisis, but you went towards the other way, right?
Well, so it's crazy for me because I left like an insanely lucrative, high billing, exactly what I know to go into this ocean of not knowing a goddamn thing. Like I'm like the low one on the totem pole, not to mention I no longer work for myself. So those two parallels were like super crazy to me because I don't know if you guys feel this or not, but I was getting like a lot of biases. Like if I had a Stanford founder who wanted to, work with me, I'm like, nope, diva, bye. I wouldn't even have that conversation. And I just felt myself like in this rut and judging, which is not like who I am. I'm very like, yeah, let's go, and I don't know. I just felt like I just didn't want to do it. It was never my work ethic. My work ethic is like killer. It was my discipline. And when I realized those are two different things, I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I need to be uncomfortable. So how can I make myself uncomfortable?
We have some
ideas. We can make you uncomfortable.
Exactly. Exactly. We got tons of ideas.
These guys are great at that.
I walked into that one.
It's awkward.
Wow. So, speaking of uncomfortable, I do want to dive more into like some things that we could kind of show some other recruiters as far as what to expect in the coming year. But before I do that, though, I do want to. I saw on your LinkedIn profile, you're the world's best wing woman.
True.
So,
True.
Neil.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a wing woman? Well, I'm saying because you're out there, doing your thing in South Florida. I'm just saying. I will say a woman wing woman. Anyway, a woman
She'll
wing woman.
She'll make them feel safe. It'll be good.
Yeah,
you can.
Woman wing person.
No, it's like you're Jeffrey Epstein,
really?
And she's what's her name? Never mind. Go on.
I could use your assistance. I am single.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
I can always use a wing person.
There you go.
I'm the best.
A wing woman.
Wing woman
person. Wing woman's. I don't know.
Is it sexist?
Sexist, I think so.
Oh boy. All right. So anyway, with that said, let's talk about training. And one thing I want to talk about, and this is, I guess, let's dive right in. It's been a weird year, right? And we had people got the golden years of recruiting. Like we had a couple years where you could throw a rock out the window and hit a placement. I mean, it's like so easy to make money. And this last year has been rough for a lot of folks. I mean, not for everybody. A lot of folks are doing well, but a lot of them are just it's rough, and the market's changing, AI and all that kind of jazz. So I'm wondering, like, looking into next year, let's start broad. Like, what does next year look like for you?
This year.
Yeah.
2026 when this is viewing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much for recording early December. Yeah.
So you know what? It's not. Never mind the Christmas tree.
You didn't take it out. It's still up there.
Okay, so in my opinion, just from my perception, I would say like this year hasn't has been good. It was the last year that was really, really shitty. So I think the shift in moving forward is there's going to be that fine line between human and AI. Like you guys were talking about, your love for ChatGPT and all of the AI stuff. I mean, yeah, like ChatGPT is my therapist at this point and biggest cheerleader. But
biggest cheerleader, right?
Biggest cheerleader.
I told mine to tone it down, Brianna. Sorry, not to cut you off.
It's
right?
always every idea you have. They're like, that's so insightful. That's really great. And they'll be like, that's what you just told me is totally wrong. And they'll be like, it's very smart of you to see that. Like,
my ChatGPT, because you can give like a personality. So in my ChatGPT, I have it based on the person I give it is you're Hank Moody, you're a drunkard who is very smart and sharp witted. So in all my ChatGPT chats, he talks like it's Hank Moody from Californication.
Funny.
That's my
Back to your answer, which was probably more important than what we were saying.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about.
Next year.
What the 2026?
Yeah, so I just think that it's going to be like, I don't know about you guys, but emails now, like not really as effective. I mean, I definitely believe in sequences, but like omni-channel for sure. What's been winning for me, and I will continue to do, is voice messages. So I do voice messages via LinkedIn real quick. Unfortunately, just throwing things. Fortunately, you got to do it on your phone. It's not like you can do it on a computer, but real quick, 20, 30 seconds, going all through my first connections that I find relevant and just hitting them up. Hey, Brianna here. Like, how you doing? It's been a little while. And then just jamming on whatever the hell I want to jam on.
But you're doing one at a time, right? That doesn't sound like mass. You're actually literally customizing it to each person.
Totally. Yeah. I've tried to do it in mass. I'm like, can I do this in mass? So I started doing like Loom videos, which would be great because then I can see like how much they're watching, who's clicking. Like it's like, a lot of behind the scenes analytics, but I just wasn't getting as big of a hit.
Right. Because they have to click on a link and go somewhere else. So with the LinkedIn native is much better.
Yep. Exactly.
Funny enough, and here's a good marketing lesson here. Not to derail, but I saw a LinkedIn post by someone, I forget who it was, some founder or something, whatever. But anyway, and he said he actually was talking crap about voice messages or voice memos on LinkedIn. He's like, look, if you're going to send me a voice, I got to go through your voice memo and it's a pain in the ass. Just rate me. And it's funny, like recruiters will see that like one single post. And I like the way Gary Vee puts it. It's a focus group of one. Don't base your market search. It's just because one guy says he doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. You're doing it, and I know it's effective, right? Because I do it as well. It's a great tool. If you're doing voice memos and it's effective for you, then go with that, and never just take what one person says at face value because it's just one guy, right? Anyway.
What you would like personally too, right? Like just because you like to be communicated with a certain way, you don't like a certain type of outreach doesn't mean it doesn't resonate with a ton of other people.
100%. Yeah, that's what the problem with like how busy LinkedIn is now. It's like who's ever the loudest voice wins. It's like,
and it's an echo chamber too. It just compounds.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, also, and also, I mean, and how you get views is you be controversial. So I think people are just controversial just to be controversial, and it works. It gets views, it gets impressions, but at the end of the day, it's like it gets old.
Yeah,
they get old. But all right. Anyway, but go back to voice memos.
Voice memos, and then also I think that recruiters, if you're doing biz dev, you gotta freaking know how to spiel. So like you should be able to go on a company page on LinkedIn or a job description, it doesn't matter, and be able to spiel some candidate who's freaking perfect for them that actually sounds real. Like you'd be surprised. You guys coach, right? Right? Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people can't do that. Like they're in their niche and they can't I go, all right, sell me a person. And I'm like, where's the substance? Like literally you're giving me no context. This is ridiculous. Or they can't sell their company to me. So there's so much gap right there where it's like, if you can't do those two things, if you can't sell something in a whim in 30 seconds, you got a lot of work to do.
Well, it's practice. I mean, I always say, if you want to get good at it, you may not naturally have the gift of gab, but you can just practice, right? Get a partner, and just practice every day, every week, and practice, pitching candidates or cold calling or whatever happens to be.
Do you find people sell their firm with the same generic words that every other friggin' recruiter does? Is that what you find a lot?
Yes, it's crazy. Yeah. It's I don't know. I just don't get it. It's gets very frustrating to me, which also probably why I'm like, I can't coach all the time because there was a lot of frustrations. They would be like, this isn't working. I go, well, let me see what you got. and it was just shit. And I'm like, no, we went over this. Like, you can't keep doing this.
How do
it's
they
as bad as when you have recruiters.
Sorry. No, you, Chris, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's as bad as like when you have recruiters working for you too, and if they're just not listening, and you're like, or hey, try this, and then they're like, oh yeah, okay, that's not working. Well, how many times do you try it? How many people do you call? They're like, oh well, not that many. Or you're like,
20.
well,
yeah.
So right. I would lose my mind as a coach, because I would probably be like, here's what you need to do, and then they would probably not do it, and then I'd be like, well, why are we even talking then? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the excuses. Yeah, you're getting leads after talking to candidates. You try it your first time, you're nervous. They don't. Oh, I don't feel good. I don't want to give you anyone. No, people won't tell them. They won't give me anything.
Yeah.
It's like if you met with a personal trainer like once a week, and then they're like, "Hey, so how have you been eating the last week?" And you're just like, "Well, I haven't really been sticking to the nutrition." They're like, "Why are we even still meeting?" Like,
why are we doing this? Yeah, if information was the answer, we'd all be, have 6-pack abs and billionaires. Yeah, it's rough.
The reason why I think that this voice memos work and being able to pitch well and or spiel as you put it, I think obviously human connections can become more valuable because in the world of AI and all these AIs can personalize, and some of it does a really, really good job. But there's nothing that that screams, or not screams, but there's something about the human connection when you send somebody a voice memo and we have an or on there, like you sound real. Mm-hmm. Because in the AI, if an AI were to do it, it'd be too perfect with no inflection, right? Yep. And you also want to show your personality. You want to show your personality. I mean, obviously you're fun, energetic, exciting. But everyone's gonna be a little bit different. But you want that personality to shine through, and just AI just doesn't do that. It's just, in fact, I had a demo with a company this morning who does like I guess they have like this AI recruitment assistant where basically you spike the candidates and their contact information and the job, and then it basically calls and texts these candidates and gets them on the phone and all that. And it sounded great, but I was listening to the recordings and it's just so flat. Just so flat. You know what I mean? It's hard to connect with someone like that.
Yeah, I think you just know, like every time like I've sent someone a message, someone's actually, a couple people have responded back with a voice message. She's like, I've never done this before, and they're like so proud of themselves, which is adorable. But they're also like, hey, thank you for keeping it human. Like I hear that more often than not. Thank you for keeping it human. And I'll never re-record a message or a video, because if I fuck up, like I fuck up. Like it just is what it is. If I like look weird, it is what it is. It's like not that big of a deal, and I think that's where recruiting has to go.
And the fuck ups that we have, I feel like that no one was paying attention anyway. Like we were, I didn't say the way I wanted to. I think if they probably didn't even notice that you hiccuped over something or forgot to say something.
It's like planning a wedding, like, and all these things that were forgotten or a disaster. Like no one fucking knows. Like you guys are fine. Like everything was great. Everyone enjoyed it. So yeah, and I also think like for this year, it's like you have to show up and do the work. Like what we talked about, like the gym, you have to actually like do all of these things. You have to get back to people in time. You have to have like that, like urgency, intensity, and I think really what's important, and I know that we all have networks that we need people to follow, but cut the noise. Like pick 1 to 2, 3 tops of people you want and believe that their information is good for you and it works or whatever, or motivates you. I don't care. It doesn't even have to be in your industry, but like stop. It's too much.
There's a lot of noise in our space, a lot. And if you're not careful, your entire feed and like LinkedIn just becomes that. And then that's going to have you second guessing every 5 minutes what you're doing. You keep changing gears. You're never going to get anywhere.
Constantly comparing.
Is AI. In fact, I know a guy who does this. I don't think he does every email, but he sends his emails out to his list and he uses AI for it. But he, not every email, but in a lot of emails, he'll go and he'll intentionally put in spelling mistakes.
Yeah. Which also kind of looks like you an idiot, right? Doesn't that make you like?
Oh no, that's brilliant. I use it for dating, which is hysterical. I literally now have it down. I swear to God, I have chat. It knows my thing. It knows my spiel, and I take pictures of the profile, what they wrote. I'm like, give them the usual thing. Let's talk about this, or let's talk about the
usual thing.
And I'll because it has all the M dashes and all the crap that's so AI, I'll absolutely put in a couple of typos in there. I'll throw it off just so it looks like I'm spitballing it.
So Brianna, so I'm sure you know this, but Neil has a really effective grinder funnel that he has been optimizing.
I was like, you needed a wing woman, and now you're telling me like this works for you? This doesn't work.
Well, it works within reason. I still need it. Look, there's nothing beats a wing person. But I do love the AI for dating. They're like, this is only one person ever called me. This is awesome. Is this AI? I'm like, what? Why would you say that?
How dare you?
But it's very tailored. It's not like generic. It's extremely tailored to their stuff, you know?
All right. Warning.
Dating
warning.
would be really weird now. I'm glad I'm like long out of that pool, because it would be really weird now with all like the amount of like people that are using like AI to like try to like just, it's as bad with jobs and employers and candidates with AI talking to AI. And I know it happens from what Neil tells me in like the, you know, Match, Plenty of Fish, whatever's around these days. I don't know. Like that's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's not a whole lot different than recruiting, as DSPs point out tons of times.
That's true.
Oh yeah, I use that as an analogy because I used to be a young man back in the day, for folks who didn't know. And so, back in my day, we used to have to go approach the young ladies and approach girls we thought were attractive or whatever it is, and you get rejected and you do it again, and because of that, if you did it for so many, years when I was younger, it just translates so well into this business. So I would use that as an example. But it is, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that anymore, because I could imagine just the AI world. I'd be afraid I'd be catfished by somebody, honestly. Actually, Neil, have you ever been catfished?
Oh my God, totally. In fact, I've been working on a new podcast, trying to be an influencer on there, all about that. Scams, sugar babies, catfishing. Like, it's fascinating. I'm going to just share it with the world. I've already got my stuff all set up.
What were we talking about? Recruiting? Oh,
yeah, sorry. Well, but there are similarities.
But it's a type of recruiting. It is a type of recruiting.
It is a type of recruiting. And,
so Brianna,
the same old stuff doesn't work. And people aren't doing the old school stuff in dating. It's the same as recruiting. I mean, people will send messages. You get back on, you do some good old cold calls, good old regular sales calls. People are like, what is that? They're just used to the en masse shortcuts that every recruiter's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you. So Brianna, let me ask you this: do you have any catfishing tips for our viewers? I'm just kidding. No, but beyond that, speaking of catfishing, but speaking of marketing, so you talk about voice memos, which is a great tool to personalize your messaging. But what other things can you do to stand out? Because that's, I think, the other big thing about recruiters. One of the issues they have is like, yeah, I find the best candidates. So does everybody else. We all find the best candidate. We all say the same things at the end of the day. So how else can you differentiate yourself? Because there's a sea of recruiters out there all saying the same shit.
I think you need to go based off of your personality. So like, I like to joke around, like, this is why this is fun for me. So like, for example, yesterday I shot over a message, and it was from a company that I had heard from a candidate that was going to get acquired. So this was a TA person and a higher up. And I was like, hey, blink twice if you're going to get acquired. And obviously it's through LinkedIn, right? So that was just my one funny thing. And if I'm not laughing from a message, or if I'm not at least somewhat entertained, like, I'm going to get bored, right? Like, I think like a lot of recruiters are like, squirrel. So it's like, use your squirrel personality. And she got back to me pretty instantly. She's like, I got to tell you, that was one of the funniest messages. Like, I'm blinking twice over here, so it was just like, again, just back to like a person, like, if you're in front of them, what are you going to say? And I'm pretty sure it's not just, well, I've got a candidate with 2 years experience that came out of, it's like, no, we don't talk like that. So bringing some kind of like personality. And I'm not saying if you don't have a big personality, you're screwed. I know someone who's one of the best recruiters, makes the most money I know. And he's very like analytical, like no jokes are ever coming out of that guy's mouth, And so what he does is he knows exactly what type of candidate works really well for that type of company, and including the hiring manager. So he just has a lot more context to it besides just the normal shit. And that does really well for him.
Well, I would imagine too, he already has, like, he was already established. If you're established, you're known as a guy or gal, or just a recruiter who's really good at making his matches. That's one thing. And that's, I guess that's an authority piece. But if you're trying to break in, I would imagine, trying to be new, then you really got to, again, show that personality, because, just having that sort of reputation doesn't really do any good if no one knows that reputation. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, via his messaging, like his messages are really like in depth, so you can fake that a little bit, but yeah, just coming in. And here's another thing I've got a question to you guys. There's a lot of people coming into recruiting that right off the bat want to own their own agency. How do you guys feel about that?
I think they need experience somehow. The failure rate's massive.
Not everybody. Yeah. I've known folks. Actually, I've got a client who launched. Technically, he's a recruiter in the Marine Corps. But that's like way different.
Yeah.
But he was a client of mine. We helped launch him. Did really well. So that's the exception, not the rule. I think for most folks, yeah, you need to spend a year or two, couple years working for a firm, under the ropes.
I think like if you're going to build a name for yourself and a rep, it helps to work somewhere for a bit because you're kind of doing that in someone else's dime.
Right.
Learning how to go about the selling and the recruiting, like a lot of people could figure out, they can watch videos, but I do think like if it was purely that, I feel like you could just jump out and start doing it. I think what you gain is the ability to have some lead time to like build a name for yourself. That being said, I think if you were very like well-known in a particular industry and you could switch to recruiting, like maybe you could do it. So like, let's say you were selling in a particular vertical for like years, and then you decide you want to recruit in that vertical. Maybe you could lean on your rep to do that, and like that could work. So it kind of depends where you're coming from, I feel like.
It also depends on how like the Marine I was talking about, he's retiring as a Marine recruiter, 20 years as a Marine. And while my Marines do eat crayons, I like to joke about my Marine buddies, you crayon eaters out there. But in all seriousness, though, they come out extremely disciplined and extremely motivated. If you're extremely disciplined, extremely motivated like he is, then you can make it work. But you do have a little bit of a harder time, I think, if you don't have that prior experience. But exactly. Well, let me ask you, Brianna, I guess same question to you. Like, what are your thoughts on newbie recruiter going right into agency ownership and skipping?
Yeah,
like take her course. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Trust me, I have had all of those 3-month courses, and like I've had people do it from scratch, and I had to stop that. And I had to go to, what you said, who the exception is, because there are exceptions for sure. Like they just have it. But yeah, you got to earn your stripes. I mean, at least a year, right? At least figure it out, because you're trying to tell me that you're going to figure out being an entrepreneur, which is its own shit. That could be a whole podcast. But then you're going to figure out how to get candidates. Then you're going to figure out how to do biz dev. Then you're going to figure out like all the legal shit. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much that goes into it, and it's like people really underestimate like how long that takes.
God, you need to model you need to model people that are good at certain areas and say, wow, I have no idea, but this person sucks at these things, but wow, they are great at biz dev, or they're great at the joking with the people. And then the old horrible people, you got to see what they're doing that stinks that you want to avoid doing. I don't know how you get around that.
Yeah.
And collect a check. Like, get a base, have some cash flow, because like if you launch into this and you're waiting maybe 6 months to maybe get paid on something, like how about collect a salary from someone? How about use the tools that they're paying for and experiment with those, figure out what you like, what you don't like. Because otherwise you got to go buy those things yourself and test them out. So yeah.
Yeah. Even I think being an internal to external has its differences.
Yeah.
That you have a better off chance, right? But I mean, I know plenty of people who went from internal and doing external right now, and I'm helping them with their messaging. I'm like, look, you no longer have that brand behind you. Like you got to change it up. Like you got to get scrappy. People want to contact you, not just, oh yeah, I want to work at Meta, like no.
Well, there's also the value of just being around veterans. Like, because there's something that you just don't, there's not in courses or not like in training videos. And there's little turns of phrase or the way people put things, or
you hear them on the phone, you see situations.
Yeah. One of my mentors in the business, in rest in peace, she's long dead, but a woman named Lucy Wilson, she'd been recruited for 40 years when I started in 2000. So, and she started when candidates would pay her. That was kind of when this is before client paid fees. And she was rough around the edges, an old battle axe. I listened to her tell a candidate F off and slam the phone. Well, she told a candidate she told a candidate to basically F off and take the effing job. Hung up on the guy and ended up closing them because she just understood human psychology so well, and it's something you can really teach. And I picked up a lot from her. And you just can't get that in a course. And I sell courses too. I get it, but there's something about being around the old veterans and listen to what they do, and you can't replace that. You really can't.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I love the psychology aspect you just said, because that's its own separate shit. Like, people argue, like, are recruiter sales? First of all, yes. And almost every job is sales if you want to really, like, back it up a little bit, right? Even just having a relationship, you're in sales on who gets to pick dinner, right? But yeah, there is a whole psychology to how you get someone to leave their comfy little job. Even when they're like not happy at their job, it's still like a big deal to leave, right? So there's so much stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, even when people leave their company to start up on their own, I'm amazed at how many people are too chicken to do it on their own, and they have to find a partner, which creates more problems a lot of the times than it does not doing it. But they're so scared to do it that they go, well, if I do it with someone else, I don't know. I don't get that.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear in sales and in entrepreneurship and recruiting, like, and people struggle. Okay, I want to hear your take on this. I feel people struggle in biz dev instead of sourcing, because when you put it together, sourcing and biz dev is the same exact thing. Same thing. It's just now you're selling yourself instead of a company, and people are scared to sell themselves.
I do think it's more of a challenge, though. I will say, and you're right in a lot of ways. They're very similar, but I think one of these always thought was very true in this business was that if you have something to sell, like in hand, like here's a thing I'm selling, whether it be a company, a job, a candidate, if you're doing NPC marketing, it's a little easier for one than selling yourself, because it's selling yourself or your services is like a nebulous thing, and there's a lot more nuance to it versus you can just kind of rely on the great company that you're. Obviously, there's psychology in that too, but I think there's a lot of it comes down to, do you have something in hand that you're selling, or do you have just like this nebulous sort of thing that you do? And that's where I think a lot of people have trouble, because they're so used to I don't know. Recruiting is easy. I shouldn't say it's easy, but it's a lot easier.
There's a more tangible thing. You have a job in your hand. Hey, I have this thing that you might find that's of value, that I think is of value, right? And so then the selling side, could it be, like you said, it'd be a little more abstract, a little more nebulous. Maybe if you're like trying to NPC, you might have something in your hand or whatever, but otherwise you're kind of maybe feeling a little toothless in terms of like what you actually have to offer, right? Like, because I think a lot of recruiters are like, their value is probably in like the jobs they have to offer. I have some great candidates, or I have, a great position you might be interested in. If they're just talking about selling themselves, like, I feel like a lot of them aren't confident in that.
You said it in the value.
It's why somebody. It's why I don't know, when I was as a rookie, one of the things you're told is, here's a candidate, go sell it, because it's an easier entry point into marketing is doing the NPC, which I'm still a big fan of NPCs to this day, by the way.
Agreed.
So it's so much easier that I cheated on, and I taught everyone to cheat by going in on that door. Like, I just don't understand. It hit me when I would go and recruit this high level CFO, right? The case of the finance and accounting, which is where I was. And without knowing me, they're telling me their salary. They're telling me their benefit plan. They're telling me about their hot buttons. I'm like, this is so much easier than cold calling the same person, and then just flip it, or just know them, and then they give you the business. Like, I cheated all the time.
100%. I love that. And that goes to like your value. So we could probably survey a whole lot of recruiters and say, hey, do you think getting 30 to 60K for one placement is a lot of money? And I bet you a lot of people would say yes, but the good ones are going to say, fuck no, because there's so many reasons. There's so much benefits to what we do and how we do it quickly, how much money we technically save a company by them doing it themselves. Like, I could talk forever about why we're valuable and why 30 to 60K is not that big of a deal.
If you have a salesperson you hire for a company, for like, say, a software company, and their target is going to be like 2 million, right? And they're going to hope they should make a few $100,000, right? Like, and then the company wants to pay you like 15% on like the base only or something like that. Like, you should be able to combat that pretty easily, because you are revenue generating, right? Like that would be one of the easier ones, but I think a lot of people struggle even with that.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to switch gears here a little bit. I want to ask you kind of an interesting question. Obviously, we talked about, right
now, the interesting questions.
Yeah. Now it is
up to this point.
All these are boring. I'm curious, like, what are some of the things that, because you've been a coach for a long time, and I certainly have my own kind of opinions on this as well, but what are some of the, like, or maybe one or two of the big ugly truths that recruiters don't want to hear, but that they need to hear to be successful? That's the one thing I think as a coaches, we're like a lot of times we all want to tell people, well, it's the the temptation is to tell people what they want to hear, right? But we can't do that, right? You got to tell them what they need to hear, not the one that want to hear, and there's a lot of ugly truths out there. So, what are like some of those ugly truths that you have to kind of drill into your clients' heads to get them to be successful, always in spite of themselves?
I'm a big believer this is not a part-time job. And I think that a lot of people think that they can do this part-time. And again, there's always those exceptions. But they think that this is easy. And to your point, you're like, oh, recruiting's easy. In theory, what we do is easy, but actually putting all those pieces together and getting paid for it is its own separate ballgame. And so that's definitely something that I want to do. I also have to tell people, like, look, what works for me might not work for you. Like, this is not a one game, here you go. I said, I can tell you best practice, but I go back to like a sports analogy where it's like the fundamentals will win every day. Like, if you're good at the fundamentals, then I think you'll win this game. But it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of trial and error. And I think that they don't want to make those mistakes. A lot of people fear failure. It's like, if you have to embrace that kind of stuff and be like, oh, I fucked up. All right, let me try this one again. Let me try it this way. Like there's a lot of fear, going back to what Neil said. People are scared a lot of times, which is going to be like that issue, maybe in any industry. I also think that people think they can use bots to do their sequencing, and it's like a set it and forget it kind of crock pot situation where it's like, that doesn't work either. So I think they lack the hustle, because now we have so many tools. I mean, think about this. What if we had these tools back then in our freaking heydays? Like, when it was like, we're making it rain, like you said earlier, any idiot basically was making $200K a year from recruiting, think about that. And we had these tools, like, we would like just explode. Now people aren't learning those fundamentals. They're just using the tools. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I guess it brings back the old concept of, why work hard when you can work smart? And I always say, well, why not do both?
Right. Thank you.
Right. That's yeah. Do both and then succeed. Yeah, I think you're right. It's the lack of hustle mentality. I think because things are almost like too easy. Like the old saying was like, hard times create strong men create good times, and you kind of need to have some hardship to not have the tools as a crutch to learn how to be effective, and then bring in the tools later to then make you more effective and enhance what you're already doing. But that's why, and it's kind of the thing I see nowadays where people don't want to make cold calls. Right? Because cold calls are hard and they're scary, and you're going to get rejected, and you're going to feel stupid, and you're going to stutter, you're going to mumble, and all the kind of crap. In reality, nowadays, cold calls are actually pretty effective because nobody's doing them. It's like the voice memos. You're doing something different, and you put the human connection in there. And I think a lot of the folks that grew up doing cold calls, they can add AI into the mix and all these different like sequencing tools and whatnot to kind of spread out, but the ability to go out there and do those really hard things, you're right. It's important. It's very important. It's key.
So back in the day, I sold gym memberships, and we would literally have the yellow pages, the yellow white pages, or whatever they were called. And we would go through and cold call just random goddamn people that lived in like the area. And like, that's the shit. Like, and it's more of like, not about whether it's, cold calls versus doing something else, but it's more about the ballsiness behind it. Like, you just don't give a shit. Like, you're going to get your job done. Never let anyone affect your ability to do your job. Like, period. I also think people don't work backwards. People are like, I just want to make a lot of money in recruiting. Well, what's a lot of money to you? Because what it is to me, to you, is very different, right? So let's work backwards. So let's say you want to make 250. Great. How many deals is that? What's your niche? What's your average fee? What's your, and like, everyone, when I bring that up to them, because that's my first initial, if someone wants to do coaching with me, that's my first question. How much money do you want to make?
So it's funny, the last like several years of being solo, that has helped me keep increasing revenue steadily every year, because I had actually set goals. Like before, when I had the staffing firm for like 10 years, we had costs we had to cover, I had employees I had to feed. So some of the numbers kind of created themselves, but it was just you, right? If you were shooting for X, you're going to hit X. You probably aren't going to go any higher, right? You're going to do what you got to do to get there. But then when I kept moving the bar, Suddenly that became the baseline. And then next thing you know, it was like more and more. I mean, it doesn't make it necessarily, I'm not trying to tell everyone it's like super easy, but like mentally, like I feel like whatever your goal is, you're going to get as far as that goal.
Yeah. And every 3 months, you should change it. You should evaluate it and then change it like accordingly.
You change that number, like you'll figure out a way to get to that number.
Yeah. Those big numbers are doable. I mean, I know a recruiter is actually another client of mine, but he was, this is his first full year in his own firm because he worked for another firm before, and he had like a non-solicitation, so he couldn't bring it over his clients. He had to start from scratch. And solo, he is on track to do 800 grand this year. Yeah. So for other recruiters who don't think they can do it, like those big numbers are possible. They're infinitely doable. In fact, it's probably honestly easier, but it's more doable today than it was back in the day. Or there's big numbers because you have all these tools available. But but your point there, Brianna, it all comes down to the hustle. Without the hustle mentality, part of it, then it's just all noise.
Well, and everyone's using the tools though. That's the problem, right? So InMail, like just doesn't, like everyone, it doesn't work. No, everyone's doing it. Everyone did do it. Everyone's, the sequences and the mass marketing. It's just everyone has those tools. Everyone has them in their tech stack, and they're okay.
Well, here's the thing, but can you be different using those tools? That's the key thing. Is like that. Because it's like with the email sequences, it's the same message all the time, right? Be different. That's like you say, be funny, be outrageous, be bold, be a hustler, and then you'll start getting noticed amongst all the white noise out there.
And if you put the pressure on yourself and you make it so you have no choice, it has to get done. Think about it like if anybody who's listening has ever had a backfill that like you maybe had a certain amount of time to get done before you were gonna have to like give the money back. Like I don't do money back. I haven't done that in years, but I've been in that situation where years ago I knew like I had to figure this out in like 2 weeks or I was going to have to give somebody back like $20,000. And that was not going to happen. And you just got it done. So you treat your goals each quarter, each month, each year like that. You would be surprised what you can accomplish because you will just do whatever, call, email, LinkedIn, whatever it is, you just get it done.
Yeah. I also feel very strongly about having overlap. Like, especially if like you're a solo recruiter or maybe like it's just a small team, if you should really have 5 clients that want exactly the same thing, because then you can get one candidate and you can send them 5 places. Like overlap, I think is key. I mean, I had $2 million billers on my team for 2-3 years in a row. And it was because we had overlap. Because they knew that if they got a badass candidate, we were going to keep them so busy, they had no choice but to pick one of our options.
Power of the niche, right? Power of the niche, be niche. You can recycle your candidates, right?
That's recyclability.
Big, recyclability, big piece. I do get those folks. I get clients every once in a while. They want to be more generalists onto everything because they feel like they're missing opportunities. They don't. It's like, man, the more you narrow, the more you niche, the better it is. Right? You just do the same thing over and over and over again. Really key.
Becomes a habit.
An habit. All right, so time for us to start wrapping up here soon because we're all going to turn into pumpkins in a few minutes. So Brianna, first off, it's a great conversation. This is probably the most fun I've had in a call in a while, or on a show in a while. So this is actually.
You say that to everybody. I'm gonna have to watch.
No, we like all the F-bombs and S-bombs you throw out. Yeah, we really like that.
For you, I mean it.
But kind of like with Ben Menace, like, here's one I'm really excited about today.
But let me ask you this: what do you want to leave with the recruiters watching this right now? They're staring into the abyss that is 2026. What can you give them to help them kind of steer them in the right direction? Like some good final words.
Yeah, I would say the sky is not falling. Unfollow all the recruiters who don't jazz you up and get you excited. I think that's super important. Stop the noise, put your head down. But here's the thing, when there's so much to look at and there's like, well, I could do this or I could do that, going back to the generalist versus niche, like set your goals, set your outreach goals, set your biz dev goals, set how many clients you're going to have. Like all of that shit matters. And you might say, well, it's just me, but you're your own boss. Like that is so huge. And by the way, like stop beating yourself up too. I get all the time, should I stay in recruiting? First of all, that's not my decision. Like, let's get that out of the way. But also it's like, do you like it? And to your point with the marketing stuff, do you like making content? And if you don't, get the hell out. I don't think you need to make content to be successful. I just think you need a focus and pick your focus, That is all.
Nice. All right. Well, that said, let's talk about where people can find you. Check out Millionaire Recruiter, the millionairerecruiter.com. If you want to check out her coaching, actually was on the site as well. Lots of free resources on there as well. So go check it out. And Brianna, thank you very much for being on. I really appreciate it. Really do. We'll have to do this again sometime. So we'll get you rescheduled because I think, this is a fun call. And I do mean it this time. It was a really fun call. You get right in.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much, folks, for watching. Make sure you comment down below if you have a comment live and or replay. Comment that below. Give us your questions. We'll answer them in the comments. Give us a like. Give us a love. Give us a hate. We don't care. We just want your emotion because that's what drives the good old algorithm. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.